I watched her documentary before she ever became big. I think I seen it on PBS, on Channel 13. You can tell she was a rough. She had anger problems. She was not ladylike. She was nigga boy, tomboy. Nah, and she, nigga, she went through the process and corrected what needed to be corrected to represent what a champ is. She ain't no Layla Ali. None of our new youth are what our old stars used to be. They got their own mind, they got their own identity. So nah, man, homie, they picking on Claressa, and can't nobody whoop her. So
get ready, because what you're about to hear is not gossip, not a hot take, and not empty internet talk. This is the moment when the story finally opens up and shows what was hidden for years. When Charleston White spoke, he did not yell or try to shock people. Instead, he revealed things by simply laying out the truth. The silence that many believed showed loyalty suddenly sounded like an admission no one wanted to face. For a long time, the public was shown a perfect image. People saw an unstoppable champion, a powerful couple, and a love story surrounded by success, money, and praise. Everything looked polished and inspiring. Then Charleston White stepped in and asked the one question nobody wanted to touch. What if this was never about love? What if it was about strategy, image, and positioning? What if protecting the brand mattered more than being honest? He did not attack anyone with insults. He did not go on loud rants or chase attention. What he did was far more unsettling. He connected the dots. He reminded people that Claressa Shields did not come from comfort or approval. She was intense, emotional, and real. Over time, she was shaped not only into a champion but into a product. A product that could not afford mistakes, controversy, or tough questions. That is where the story takes a darker turn. While the spotlight stayed on boxing wins and public celebrations, something else was quietly happening behind the scenes. Control, money, image, and influence began to guide every move. The person standing beside her was not just a partner but a gatekeeper. The silence was not random. It was planned. Charleston White did not make accusations. He simply allowed the pattern to speak for itself. And suddenly, the relationship people admired started to feel less like romance and more like a carefully managed deal. Real love does not need this level of control. Real love does not survive on silence. And real love should never feel like a contract waiting to expire. From this point on, nothing about Claressa Shields and Papoose looks the same.
So Claressa Shields wants to have babies with Papoose while he's still married to Remy.
They gonna look like African kids, Ugandan babies. Yeah. They ain't gonna know if them babies Nigerian, Jamaican, or Haitian. But they gonna have some pretty chocolate skin. Don't know if their hair gonna be too straight or wavy. They may have African hair. But they sure gonna be nigga kids. Yeah. They gonna be some smart kids that know how to fight.
What made this moment feel so disturbing was not how loud Charleston White spoke. It was how calm and direct he sounded. He did not seem interested in persuading anyone. Instead, he spoke as if he was reminding people of things they already knew but chose to overlook. This was not an emotional outburst. It was a shift in perspective. Once that shift happened, the familiar story surrounding Charleston White, Claressa Shields, and Papoose slowly began to fall apart. Charleston did not question Claressa's skill or hard work. He questioned the structure built around her success. He made it clear that the real danger in celebrity culture is not failure but protection from criticism. When someone becomes untouchable, control quietly takes over. According to him, Claressa's rise involved more than strength and discipline. It included careful image shaping and strict control over risk. Fans saw power in the ring, but they did not see how tightly everything was managed outside of it. Charleston then turned attention away from boxing and toward the people closest to her. That is where Papoose came in. Not as a romantic figure, but as a steady presence who stayed silent and visible at the same time. Charleston suggested that when protection and dependence mix, silence becomes intentional. At that point, a relationship stops looking like love and starts looking like alignment.
Yeah, that nigga Papoose. And this is why I say that. You ain't never heard no hoe come out and say nothing bad about him first. Even when his hoe was doing wrong, he wasn't running to the internet bashing him. And he don't speak much. He's a man of silence, so that means his words are important to him. I done seen him get with 2 women, and it seemed like he brought the best out of both women. Yeah, I don't know too many niggas that go hold their girl down when they go to jail.
That silence was never presented as innocence. Instead, it was treated as discipline. Charleston White suggested that people often confuse discipline with moral strength. When someone refuses to respond in public, others assume there is nothing to explain. In reality, silence can mean the person understands restraint better than everyone else around them. Knowing when not to speak can be just as powerful as knowing what to say. From there, the discussion took a darker turn. Charleston began talking about moments when careers reach their highest point, but personal identity stops growing. When public attention fades, staying close to power can become the fastest way back into relevance. He did not claim that Papoose took advantage of Claressa. Instead, he said opportunity often finds those who are prepared for it. When one person needs security and another needs access, the connection gets labeled as love because that sounds better than strategy. He argued that Claressa's world slowly changed over time. It became less focused on competition and more focused on image. Risk mattered less than preservation. In that environment, anyone who questioned decisions was not just disagreeing. They were seen as a threat to the structure holding everything together. Charleston also turned his attention to the industry itself. He questioned why so many voices that talk about empowerment stayed quiet when real scrutiny was needed. He asked why media platforms repeated safe stories while criticism was dismissed as jealousy or negativity. According to him, silence on that level is not neutral. It is cooperation. As he continued, a pattern became clear. Control does not arrive loudly. Settles in slowly. It presents itself as protection, loyalty, and care. Over time, the person at the center may no longer recognize where their independence ends and the system begins. One of his most uncomfortable points involved physical damage. Repeated injuries, fight after fight, can create vulnerability. That vulnerability makes stability more valuable than freedom. In those moments, the people closest to you become necessary, not because they empower you, but because you cannot imagine operating without them. Charleston did not describe villains. He described incentives. He then widened the lens. This was not only about Claressa Shields, Papoose, or Remy Ma. It was about how modern public relationships often function like contracts. Who brings value? Who provides protection? Who controls access? Who absorbs risk? And who gets replaced when the balance changes? Charleston reframed the entire story. This was not a love story that failed. It was a business arrangement doing exactly what it was designed to do until it reached its limit. When relationships are built on usefulness instead of trust, the ending is not emotional. It is procedural. The most unsettling part is that the truth does not explode. It leaks slowly, quietly. Once it starts leaking, no amount of branding, public relations, or silence can push it back in. What made this moment uncomfortable was not what Charleston said, but how much of it suddenly made sense. By then, the discussion had moved beyond personalities and into systems. Not who people are, but how power, money, and image operate together. Charleston did not describe the relationship as chaotic. He described it as efficient. And efficiency, in his view, is never romantic. It is deliberate, calculated, and designed to reduce risk while maximizing results.
She also makes more money than him, similar to Remy Ma. So would you consider him a gold digger?
No. A player ain't never been a gold digger. That nigga's a player. Nigga, that smooth player, nigga. Now, man, now, you always supposed to play for the bank. My grandmama told me, if a woman really like you, it ain't nothing she won't do for you. Well, grandmama, how you know if she really like you? She'll give you her money.
That statement hit hard because it changed how generosity was viewed. Charleston White was not saying that money creates love. He was saying that love often shows itself through shared resources. When someone can access what you have without resistance, it reveals the balance of power, whether people want to admit it or not. He then widened the discussion. According to Charleston, the public focuses too much on who earns more and misses the real issue. The real question is control. Who shapes the story? Who decides when silence is smart and when speaking up is allowed? In that system, silence becomes valuable. It is not weakness. It is strategy. Loud voices attract conflict. Quiet ones move freely. In an industry built on attention, the person who never reacts often becomes the hardest to challenge. This is where Remy Ma came back into the picture, not emotionally but structurally. Charleston suggested she represented unpredictability. She spoke openly, pushed back, and refused to soften conflict for appearances. In spaces that depend on clean images, unpredictability becomes a risk. When the narrative moved away from her, it was not about feelings. It was about reducing danger. Controlled stories are easier to sell, and managed relationships are easier to protect. Charleston explained that arrangements like this do not fall apart through public scandals. They end quietly. When usefulness fades, silence starts to crack, and information leaks out in pieces. Truth rarely arrives all at once. It shows up through inconsistencies, distance, and moments where actions no longer match the story. He also tied this to physical strain. Repeated injuries create exhaustion, and exhaustion increases dependence. When someone is tired and under pressure, stability feels more important than independence. That is how systems last. Charleston did not accuse anyone. He described a pattern. Once you see it, it becomes difficult to ignore.